Patch 1.8.1.3 coming Tuesday. New stuff in the patch. Not gonna read all this. Basically, new skin, Kwang skin. He has a helmet. He doesn't have a helmet. If you buy one, the second one is cheaper. So if you purchase the one with the one without the helmet is cheaper, etc. Just a little tier 2 skin, nothing crazy.
I would love to sniff
Victorious
the
bundle. This is just recolors of skins that are
Hi,
already in the game.
YouTube.
Hoodie, thank you for the 11 months, man. I appreciate it. Welcome back to the Birdnest. Hope you're having a great Friday, dude. Thank you so much for the resub. The Victorious bundle is just like recolors of skins that already exist. Whatever you spend on this bundle, like if you purchase this bundle, it goes exclusively towards esports. So like PCCs, if they do a LAN event, it would go towards the LAN event. Anything that's esports related, this bundle goes towards. So if you support that in any way, make sure you buy the bundle if you want to support that. First, into actual balance changes. Base rebuff, regen buff. So when you walk out of the base now, you get 2 seconds to regen. They're bringing that down to 1.5. Recall timers going to 8 seconds instead of 6. I hate the revert on this. I think both these changes were fine. I don't actually mind the regen one too much, but the back change I think is a big time L revert. I think 6 seconds was a great time. You could catch people lazy backing, etc. 8's like a long time where you're just doing absolutely nothing, and then you come out of base. I would rather them just remove jump pads so that you have to take longer to walk back to the lane, which is the exact same thing as backing 2 seconds longer. The only difference is you're actually playing the video game. I think this is a stupid change. I hate this change. I would rather them just remove jump pads. Jump pads have been a problem since the game came out. They've always been a problem. You can make the base smaller. You could extend the lanes. You can get extra space. There's so many things that you could do by just removing jump pads from the game, but they refuse to do it. I don't know why. I've been saying that they need to remove it for 3 years. The jump pads are an awful addition to the game, and I would rather them have taken that out and tried the game without the jump pads as opposed to reverting this change. I think this is a stupid change, personally. Jungle Hunt. The cooldown is reduced to 80 seconds, I assume to offset the fact that you're smiting more objectives. I think this is also a dumb change. I think not having Hunt is a good thing all the time. Like, you should have to be able to think about using your Hunt or not using your Hunt, so I don't really like this change that much, but it's whatever. I don't like it, but I don't care for it either. Seedling, you get less gold. You get more CS, which means that if you're Sevrog and you clear Seedling later in the game, you will get 10 stacks. So that's relevant. That's what makes this relevant, is if you're Sevrog specifically. So that's an interesting change. Because monetization, they make money off jump pads. Again, you could change the jump pad animation, like the trail, because all it is a trail. You could change the trail. You could give yourself some movement speed coming out of base, and you get the trail while you have movement speed until you're in combat for like 3 seconds, the way Smite does it when they've had larger maps. You could put the trail on the teleporter. You could put jump pads in other game modes. You can keep them in Nitro. You could add jump pads later onto a different map or in different positions on this map after adjusting the back timings and like the lane timings. There's a lot of different ways that they can change where they're not actually scamming anybody out of any monetization. You just change how the monetization works in any way. But it's literally just a trail that follows you behind. You can even just keep it as an out of combat animation. If they add out of combat animations, they can have the trail follow you when you're out of combat. It's that simple. Like, there's a lot of different ways that they could do to solve this issue of it's monetized. I think that's a cop-out answer, and I think that's fake. Jump pads give you a specific predetermined distance that always go to a certain amount of space. Just remove the jump pads. Give yourself a little bit of movement speed. It's infinitely adjustable. You can change the speed. You can change the distance that you can go to. You can change the duration of the buff. If you're in combat, it removes the buff. Like, all of that kind of stuff. It is just infinitely more variable and, like, balanceable than a jump pad that goes a set distance. It's very silly. I think jump pads are terrible for the game. And if you do want jump pads, you can add them in the future, make a map around having them in the game, put them randomly in the jungle sometimes. I don't know. You could do a lot of different shit. You could also, again, add the trail to the teleporter. There's a lot of different ways that you could do it where you're not scamming people out of monetization. I think it's a cop-out answer. I think that's silly.
The only losses are the
And
ones that
more.
you don't.
I think it's
that, like, are
a lazy
realized,
change,
you know what
in
I
my
mean?
opinion, to just revert the timer instead of actually doing something that's better for the game. Vions, thank you for the 17 months, man. I hope you're having a great Friday, dude. Thank you for the resub. My goat. What's up, noob? Hello, Godly. Okay, let me go on before I get 16 YouTube comments. No, I can just stop responding to chat. I just want to see the patch notes. Okay, moving on. Less XP from Shaper and Seedling when it levels up. Oh, this is just regular Seedling, sorry. Less XP from Seedling when it levels up. The damage from Seedling is lower. It's a little bit easier to do, less likely you get punished for it. Dude, this coffee's so good. I finally got some coffee. Shaper respawns less often. Rust Global Gold. Reward CS decreased. I didn't even know this was 15 CS. 15 CS is actually crazy. That means you get 15 stacks on Sevarog. I didn't even know that. Akeron, increased attack speed, increased attack speed per level, basic attack timing. So like how long it takes you to actually finish your auto attack is longer. So you probably won't notice too much of a difference. Health regen decreased, health regen growth decreased, mana decreased. The mana decrease is pretty big. Magical armor growth decreased, doesn't really matter that much. Movement speed increased though, that's pretty big. Physical power on his basic attack decreased, that's gonna hurt his jungle clear a lot. His Hellfire, the fireball, significantly decreased, but extra scaling, so less early. If you build power, it's gonna be the same, if not better. Slow decreased, good. Just shouldn't stack as high, honestly. Or like sometimes I feel like it hits you and it doesn't. Like I feel like you get hit by the slow stacking more than you should. Slow duration reduced. That's a good change. Mana cost increased late game, lowered early game. That's a good change. Web shot damage increased. So if you actually hit somebody directly, base damage increased. I don't mind that change at all. Magical power scaling decreased. That's fine. Physical power scaling decreased. This is more of like a tank buff than a damage buff. Delete bonus, you get less scaling on both. So he's going to do less damage on his two. Higher when you're full tank, though. His right click, more base damage, less scaling. Pretty standard. Made the mana cost the same at all ranks, though, which kind of offsets the Q change. If not, is better for his mana cost overall. So, like, eh. When you kill something, a jungle monster or a lane minion, you get 8 passive stacks. This is a good change. Argus, his passive increased. I hate Argus meta. I don't know why they want to buff Argus. Projectile speed increase on the right click. That means it's easier to hit. Less base damage. This being easier to hit. So, like, the passive just kind of offsets the damage that they reduce on the right click, but making it easier to hit is pretty insane. If you hit every single Argus right click, it's like Skylar Beam. You just melt people. So, I don't know if I like this change. I feel like that's a I don't like that change just because it might make the character insanely OP, and I don't like playing against Argus. I don't like playing Argus. Boring character. You just fucking hold right click. You don't actually play the game. Boring. Uh, I don't know if I like that change. Moving on to Aurora. Damage increased on her passive is increased. She gets the Howie effect, kind of, where you use abilities, it lowers your passive cooldown. Instead, hers is when you CC somebody, it lowers her passive cooldown. That's an insane buff. She gets bonus damage on her 2. Pretty significantly buffed here, honestly. This is a pretty big buff to Aurora in general. Going to be a very strong character next patch. Boris, extra mana. Less non-healing against... less healing against... what's it called? Fucking minions, etc. When you have your passive. I believe this is part of the passive, if I'm not mistaken. What's it called? His right click, less scaling. Doesn't really matter that much. Mana cost decrease, so you won't have mana issues. Buff the ult bonus health damage, so if you ult the tank, you will be doing a lot more damage to people when you land in the later stages of the game. Uh, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is just like a buff. I mean, it's a slight nerf, but I'm pretty sure this is a buff overall because he has pretty bad mana issues. So by doing this, it means it's way easier to go the Ashbringer vote or Ashbringer build. Countess, less healing from Blood Pool. I think this augment sucks anyways. Fake augment, I don't think it's actually good. She has less armor, more magical armor, so she's better against like Shinbi. She's worse against physical matchups like Grux. She gets less armor growth magical overall, so like late game it'll be roughly the same. You level 1 for exactly 1 wave and 1 creep. That's a big difference. Because if you have wave prio, like if you have pressure level 1, that means you hit level 2 first, which means you have the opportunity to play immediately. Let's see. Countess 2, lower base damage, lower cooldown early game, mana cost adjusted. Seems like a fine change. This is mostly a buff. 10 base damage doesn't matter that much. Countess wins through proccing your passive, not necessarily through her base damage, but you will feel it maybe a little bit, especially early game. You don't really level this ability anyways, though. You level your right click. So taking 5 damage off the right click a little bit more relevant than taking 10 damage off the 2. Ult cooldown, longer early game, lower late game. I don't know, Countess, I already think she's kind of a fake bait pick. I think she's good, but I don't think she's like the best pick. I think she's a little bait right now. Definitely strong, but I think she's a little bait. You just get more value out of other stuff. Dekker right click increased by 10%. Why are we doing that? Nobody wants this character good. She already does more damage than mages. She also has triple CC abilities plus a cage. We don't need to buff this character, okay? Extra mana too, so she doesn't have mana issues. Drongo Boomerang, increased projectile size plus increased range. That's pretty big. Feng Mao, auto attack augment reduced. Probably good change. Should have happened a while ago. Bonus health scaling on Greystone 2 is increased, so Greystone just does a little bit more damage. Healing decreased from Grimm's augment. Basically, when you block an ability, you get base healing plus a HP heal. This is just reducing that. You also get movement speed. They're reducing the amount of movement speed you get from that. The ability cooldown reduction against heroes. Nobody cares. Augment sucks. Grimm has one ability, so you reduce the cooldown of one ability because it doesn't work on your ultimate. So you reduce the cooldown of just your one. Nobody cares. Irrelevant ability.
I would love to sniff the face
Captain!
heat.
Capitan!
God forbid a man
Thank you
has
for the 4
fucking-
months, man. I
I
appreciate
missed
it.
the start of this.
We'll go back to the
What's the
bird nest, man.
biggest change?
We've barely gotten into it. Big dog, you ain't missed much. Grux, his 2, lower damage, physical power scaling reduced, right click, less healing. Yeah, I don't really. I mean, Grux nerfs probably needed, honestly. I kind of always hate the way that they nerf Grux. I don't think Grux is actually that OP. They just need to remove Ashbringer from the game. If they remove Ashbringer, Grux is actually fine. Less attack speed on the ultimate is probably fine. They just need to remove Ashbringer and he'd be okay, actually. Because his early game is actually not that good. But once he gets Ashbringer, no matter how far behind you are, you kind of just win the lane no matter what. Like, you could be 0-4 in the lane, and then when you get Ashbringer and you insta-win. Howitzer pretty strong right now. Less magical scaling on his passive, more mana regen when you hit somebody with your auto attack passive. Direct hit damage on the missile reduced, and the slow grenades, less damage late game. 40 damage initially is pretty significant. You do get extra scaling when you hit multiple mines, and they don't last as long. A soft hit to Howie, but definitely a hit. Iggy and Scorch, damage increased from his passive. Magical power scaling on his passive increased, and the slow is increased. Flame turret cooldown, reduced late game, nobody cares. Iggy and Scorch boring character. Kallari, refund increased on the right click. So this is with the augment. The augment, when you kill something with your knife, it resets cooldown. Basically all that is, damage increased by 30 late game. Cringe character, honestly, she's pretty good right now. I don't think she needs a buff. In any way, buffing her damage late game, I mean, that's where she's the best, so it's like, I don't know. I don't think she really needs a buff, though. Kira, Q augment reduced the max health damage. I'm sorry, the missing health damage. Irrelevant. Extra healing on the ult still doesn't matter. You get it canceled immediately. Kwang decreases damage on his Q, plus mana cost increased. Shield scaling on the right click nerfed again. Kwang just kind of getting criminalized literally every single patch for like 19 patches in a row. Kind of annoying, but I can't say I'm surprised. Ult cooldown increased early game. Scaling lowered again. Character is very good. His kit's just good, but it's kind of annoying to see him just continuously nerfed because his kit's actually not that insane. He just abuses the item and the way that you play the game currently. And the fact that he does magical damage and magical defense is not great in comparison to physical defense definitely makes him even more annoying. So I don't think the problem is necessarily like just hitting Kwang over and over again is just going to end up removing him from the game. It's not a matter of like they want you to play him full tank, but playing full tank is not doable in the current state of the meta. It's not a result of the character being OP. It's the result of the fact that the character can go full damage while still being semi tanky and then being relevant. Just nerf the bruiser builds, nerf bruiser items. That's really all they have to do, and his character would be a lot worse. He's fine when you play him full tank as like a character. The problem is that you don't play him full tank, you play him full damage. I don't know why they keep nerfing his damage. That's not his problem. The problem is the items that he's abusing. Because when you nerf his base damage like this, it basically makes it so you can't play him tanks. Then you have to play him full damage because you need to play with the scaling. It's just a very bad instance. They're nerfing scaling as well, but it's like they're not nerfing the right parts of the kit, and then they're not nerfing the. Hopefully, they're nerfing the items. That's more relevant to Kwang than I think nerfing his kit. Whoops! Accidentally clicked on Morigesh. Did not want to see that. I just almost threw up. Scroll down a little bit. Morigesh, less physical power, so our auto attacks aren't going to hit as hard. Less base HP, less physical armor. Movement speed decreased, good changes. Damage on the mark decreased, and the healing for the magical power scaling on the healing part of it is lowered. That's what they just did to Howie. They criminalized his kid's damage. I mean, Howie's a mage. That's like, it's a different aspect of the character. Like, Howie doesn't abuse items. Howie's just a mage. So, like, mages do damage. When you nerf mages, you nerf their damage, basically, or you nerf their items that increase their damage. Similar to, like, ADC. You don't nerf ADCs by reducing their, auto attacks. That's, like, I mean, you can, but, like, when you nerf ADCs, you want to nerf their items specifically most of the time. You don't really want to mess with their base stuff. Or, like, their ability damage. Like, you don't really want to nerf, like, fucking Murdock right-click. Like, it doesn't change the character being good or bad, right? Because it's a CC appeal tool. It's not like a fucking, this is the whole point of the character. Like, you want to, like, balance around his auto attacks and, like, his items. And I think Kwang is the same way. You don't really want to balance around his kit. His kit's supposed to be, like, CC oriented and, like, more of a counterpick type character. You need to balance around his items, I think, better. I think that's how you make him more balanced. But bruisers in general are OP. Literally every character that you play right now is bruiser. Grux, Kwang, fucking Boris. Like, literally every jungler is pretty much like a bruiser right now. There's like no tanks. You're never seeing Steel in solo. You're never seeing like Severog in solo really, unless it's a specific counter matchup in the Shinbi. Another character that abuses the HP items. Specifically, magical HP items are insanely broken. Physical bruiser items are also strong, but they're not as broken because they've been toned down recently, like augmentation and shit. But it was broken for a very long time. Mourn, less HP over time. Cooldown on his 1 increased early game. You level this ability first anyways in support, so it doesn't really matter. This affects his solo lane though. His 2, lower cooldown late game. Again, you don't level this first, so it doesn't really matter that much. By the time you hit level 11 support, it doesn't matter if this is 1 second longer. Abduct, right click, cooldown damage decreased by 10, doesn't really matter. Character's still gonna be very strong. Murdock, extra movement speed. I think Murdock's pretty good right now, so like them buffing him is pretty insane. Extra scaling on his passive. And the trap is lower cooldown. This helps if you got the trap augment. I think this character's really good. I don't know. Like, he's kind of boring, which I think why people don't play him, but he's actually pretty good. Why they keep nerfing Mourn? Mourn's like the top support in comp right now. This is like a competitive nerf. This character's very good. He's just boring and like kind of like awkward, but he's very good. He's very, very good. Narbash, extra attack speed on the attack speed augment. Doesn't really matter. Extra mana regen from the mana augment. His cooldown on his movement speed is increased. Sorry, cooldown is decreased on the movement speed. Mana cost is also decreased. This is a pretty big buff because you don't want to level this ability first. So like having a lower cooldown is pretty good. Also, lower mana means you get to spam your abilities more, which means you get to keep your passive. So it's actually a pretty big change. Extra 10 damage on the thunk, also pretty big. 10 damage is kind of a lot early game. You hit 2 thunks, that's an extra 20 damage. That's enough to kill somebody, honestly. Like, combined with, like, your ADC, that's a lot of extra pressure. It's like his 3rd patch in a row getting nerfed. Wait till you see Kwang, bro. He's been nerfed, like, 9 patches in a row. Less mana to blink on phase. Fucking stupid. I hate this character. Could pull allies that are in other pull effects, such as getting a black hole or random mortar coil. I hate this. This removes counterplay. I'm pretty sure this was intended. I don't think this is actually a bug fix. I was told that this was intended. You can't pull out a fear or charm effects, which means you can't. Well, they don't even have charm effects in the game, motherfucker. Because you guys want to call them fucking taunts, even though they're not fucking, or sorry, mesmers, even though they're not fucking mesmers, they're charms. Fucking change your fucking things. This means you get at least Renna 2 and they can't get pulled. Or like Mourn 2. Is there even a fear in the game? Is there a fear in the game? There's not, right? Oh, Boris. Yeah, you're right, Boris. You're right. Yeah, I don't know. I wish they kept both. It should be some type of counterplay to CC. You can't pull people out of CC. It's kind of silly. Rampage, less damage increase on the boulder when you go the boulder augment.
Look,
Literally AI.
the only
Thank you for the
losses
4
are the
months, man.
ones
I
that
appreciate
you
it. Welcome back to the
that
Birdnest,
like are
man.
realized. You know what I mean?
Thank you for the 4 months, man. I appreciate it. Thank you, my goat. Hope you're having a great Friday morning. Damage on the boulder, base damage decreased, cooldown late game increased. That's tough. Pretty big nerfs. Not like super big, but just very small ones. Jump damage decreased. The HP that you get early game on his ultimate decreased. Very, very, very small nerfs to Rampage. I don't think he's like that insane, so like that's fine by me. Renna, physical armor decreased. That's tough. Execute threshold starts at a lower threshold, which is pretty big nerf. Mana cost on the 2 is increased. That sucks. And you need extra souls to get more bonus damage. This character's probably going to be pretty bad next patch. Damage per hit on her ultimate lowered, and then also less damage when people are low HP. This is a pretty. They hit her pretty hard this patch, I would say. I don't. She was like kind of teetering on the edge of like super OP slash like not good. She was like she's on like the edge. She's a very edge character where she's really strong or really bad. I think this might push her into like the bottom tier of mages, like along with like where Argus kind of is right now, where she just feels worse because you don't get to get pressure anymore. I think this character is pretty hard nerfed, honestly. But we'll see. The execute threshold specifically, I think, hurts her a lot. This also means that you can't execute minions early game. So like level 3, you can full combo the wave, and your 1 will execute like 4 of the minions for you, basically. So you get pressure level 3. This no longer lets you get pressure level 3. This is like pretty significant nerf, to be honest. Even though it's like very minor. Revenant, they finally fixed the bounty where you get power when you kill people. You get a flat amount plus percent steal. Power steal increase from 6% to 10. Holy shit. You steal 6%? Sorry, you steal 10% now? So stolen enemy power granted on kill increase from 50% to 25%. Okay, so you take 10% of their power when you're in the realm, and then you get 50% of the power that you steal. Is crazy. For reference, if you hit a mage late game that have like 600, 700 power, you know, you're taking 60, you're getting like 30 power for killing them, plus the 4 base. And this is 4 base of each. So you're getting both. Actually insane buff to this augment. This is probably his best augment next patch. Bonus physical power scaling on the Q increased, so they're buffing the Q as well, also increasing the magical scaling, which you get in general, and then additional damage from each hit. Increased actually insane buffs to Revenant. That character's already really good, and you're just making them even better. Insane. Serath Q, they're buffing her for offlane, but it might make her OP in jungle. They're just buffing the cooldown on the Q. Global visibility anyways, so it doesn't really matter that much, but it does matter for like level 1, like 1.5 seconds is kind of a lot. But you won't notice this change too much. But it is like a pretty big buff in general. Like, I mean, they keep buffing her. They buff her like 3 patches in a row. Her 2, less mana, so you don't have mana issues. I didn't even know this ability went down in mana when you leveled it, but the more you know, I guess. Shinbi, less base HP, shield decreased by 5. Yeah, believe it or not, she's still gonna be insane. I don't know why they keep like just remove the shield, man. There's no reason I should be playing Shinbi full damage slash bruiser, like full HP damage, one-shotting people and mitigating 90k damage. Just remove the shield, bro. Please. Silly fucking ability. Terra, extra damage on the Q. Extra true damage. Good buffs. I like Terra. I like when she's good. Buff her some more. I like Terra. I think she's fun. I think she's fun to play. I think she sucks to play against. You get extra armors from your ult. This is just a revert. This used to be the way it was, but they reverted it. They nerfed it because she was too strong, so they nerfed her base armor. Basically, when you level your ult, you get passive armor. That's all this is. Ability haste from the 2 increase and the duration increase doesn't matter. You still have to hit somebody first and then use your ability. It doesn't apply retroactively. Shit augment doesn't work. Healing on the right click reduced. That's fine. Mana cost on TB grenades increased. Yeah, we don't like TB. It's cringe when you get to play them like that. Rage snipe. Finally! They're nerfing the snipe rage! Oh my god, about time! Holy fuck, I won't get sniped for fucking T2 tower now! Oh my god! About time, dude. Holy shit. Actually walk up to fucking play the game, dude. How about we play interactively? Wraith is another hero that can opt into a low interaction playstyle. Nobody likes that! Let's go! Remove it! It's fucking stupid. Auto attack range is 1500. Snipe should be 2k. There's no reason this should even be 2600. This is insane. It should be like 2100 most. It should be like an auto attack and a half. An auto is 1500. Make it like fucking, make like 2200, something like that. It's still not enough, but at least it's in the right direction. Holy shit. What's called Yin, her regen passive, so like the one that makes the 2 last longer and you get extra regen. Less regen from minions, and it doesn't last as long. Mana cost decreased, or like her base mana decreased. Her stacks, her passive stacks from hitting somebody with a Q is increased, and her ult cooldown is lowered. This is actually just like a. I'm gonna be honest, this is a Yin buff. You get 1 less auto attack, and a little bit less healing off minions, but you actually just get buffed. I don't know why we're buffing that character. That character is insane. For like no reason. For one who thought it was against the law to nerf him. Yeah, they hate touching Wraith because Timmy's can't play it. So like in like any rank below Diamond, he has a very low win rate. In Diamond, he has like a mediocre win rate, and then in Paragon, he has like an 80% win rate. They hate
Sorry
that
for
character.
walking into lane, Mr. Wraith. I wasn't aware that I would lose of my health bar before walking out of turret. Let me just back real quick since I have no ability to trade back.
You're right, Bengal. You're right. Going to Goon to the Yin Bunny skin. Seek help. Cooldown on Yurei 1 increased by 1 second. That's pretty big because you also get healing nerfed. Character still OP. This character is, again, she's going to be either OP or unplayable. They need to just limit how many dashes you get. It's really all it is. It needs to be like Shinbi, where like Shinbi's old dash, if you play before 1.4, it was you dash and then you had 4 or 5 seconds to dash again. They just need to make it like that and then limit it to 3 dashes. So you dash through, you have 4 or 5 seconds to dash again. And if you don't, then it just goes on cooldown. And if you dash 3 times max, it should just go on cooldown by default. That would just be the like that's all really all you have to do, and then you can balance her around that and like buffer damage, do whatever you have to do. Should be way better. Also, they're lowering this hailing on her 2, which is this is on the skull part, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Is it just base 110 on the dash, or is this the skull part? There's like 2 parts to her too, right? This is the skull. It's okay for champs to have a high skill threshold. Wraith doesn't even have a high skill threshold. You just have to fucking aim. Aiming is not skillful. Like it is, but it's not like skill expression, if you will. Like Yurei, your dodging abilities, you're dancing around like Wukong, like you're dancing around, you're dodging shit, you're using your movement, you have to combo your abilities correctly. Like that's skill ceiling and like high skill. Just having to actually aim your abilities is not necessarily like a skill like expression, if you will. There's a difference between skill expression and like being able to outplay somebody, if that makes sense. Like Wraith Snipe is not skill expression. It's a matter of just aiming your fucking abilities. You're not outplaying anybody because you're hitting a fucking Wraith Snipe. You're just aiming. Like if you can aim, you can play Wraith. That's it. You're not outplaying somebody. Like, you know what I mean? You're not clicking your buttons in a way that you're dodging abilities or like, using your kit to its fullest potential. Mechanics for skill expression? I would agree. It's a mechanics thing. I would agree. That's a good way to explain it. It's mechanics, so it's not skill expression. I would agree. Or I guess like skill, like outplay potential, etc. All that kind of stuff. Anyways, moving on. Zinx. Extra health, bad medicine or 2, damage increased, cringe character, extra slow, Extra slow from the explosion. Damage over time on the right click increased. Pretty big buff. I think she's pretty strong in lane, honestly. Her damage is pretty strong. She's just kind of weak. She has a really bad mana cost. That's like her biggest problem. Tier 2 items, we don't care about tier 2 items. Nobody cares about tier 2 items. This is a pretty big nerf. So Stone of Strength basically is the 650 sword plus HP. Now it's the 350 sword plus HP. This means you're not getting as strong of a spike going into this item. This also means that you can start this item on a lot of characters. So like Aegis of Aguilar, for example, goes this. Or like there's a lot of items where this is a component that's very good right now. So this means that you can start it a little bit more effectively. That's a buff, not a nerf. This is a buff. Yeah, this is a buff. It's a buff to like being able to start it, but it's a nerf to like if you back on 900 gold, you're getting less value. Or what is it, 1,000 gold? You're getting less value. Because you get back on 650 plus 350, you get 1,000, so you get like a better spike going into it. But like you could start it so it's a buff to its like early game. So if you have 700 gold, it's a buff. If you have 1,000 gold, it's a nerf. You only lose like 7 AD. Well, you get the same amount when you finish the tier 2. So again, like if you have 700 gold, it's a buff. If you have 1,000 gold, it's a nerf. No, yeah, building into it, it's a huge buff. It's a huge buff. But the only difference is that if you have like 700 before, instead of getting like the tier 2, so like if you had 700 gold before, you'd get the 650 sword, you'd be on 15 AD, 0 HP. Now you're going to be on 8 AD plus 100 HP. So it's like, it's a soft trade off, but like the build is better. It just feels worse when you have like that, like you're getting 2 items instead of 1. So it's like a little worse. It's better and worse in different ways, but this is overall, I think, a buff. I think this is overall a buff for sure. Eviscerator, extra damage, or sorry, extra attack speed, less Omnivamp. Okay. Cooldown reduction on minions from Ashbringer. I don't know why we don't just remove this item from the game. It's unhealthy. Cool. Physical power on Stormbreaker increase, attack speed lowered. I love when we lower the attack speed on the attack speed items. Very cool. Extra damage on the passive. Extra base damage is pretty significant. Extra scaling on the passive is pretty significant. Maybe it'll be better. I doubt it, though. Crit's still OP. I'm pretty sure crit will still probably be better. Extra bonus ability on hits. Damage from Viper. I don't know. Maybe the build will be buildable. We'll see. Extra pen, magical armor, and physical power from Dread. Cool. You don't get temporary power while you have the passive active, though, so it's just I think this is actually a nerf. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is just I think this is still just worse than Absolution or Legacy. Spirit Desolation, extra pen, damage increase on the ult increased, cost lowered, item still sucks. It's limited to your ult, you're getting the passive very rarely. It still sucks. It sucks. Dog shit item. Sonic Echo, extra cost, less pen, getting more haste, more base power, lifesteal increased, attack speed from the passive, lowered. Wait. Okay, so they're just removing the pen and they're just giving it like haste. They're making it a cooldown item slash like auto attack item. Okay, weird change, but all right. Physical armor increased, ability haste decreased. Like I agree, it's probably a good change, honestly. Miss Meadow, extra armor doesn't matter. Dog shit item. Cleave on Overlord. Wait, does this not already do 1.5? Oh, it also, okay, so it works on the target that you're hitting. So basically, currently the way the cleave works is you do your normal damage to the person that you hit, and then the AoE does damage, Now the actual hit itself will work on the person that you're hitting on top of that. So you're getting the base damage plus the cleave on the same person, is how I understand this. This is a huge buff. This is an absolutely insane buff, by the way. This is a massive buff. This is actually insanely big buff. I don't think people realize how big of a buff this is.
Look,
There's like a 30% damage increase. The cleave is 30%, right?
That like are realized. You know what I mean?
This is an insane buff. You might even build this on ADCs. That's how big of a buff this is. Yeah, you get a 30% cleave plus 3% max HP. Just add it on to your fucking auto attack. So instead of autoing for 100% damage, you're autoing for 130%. This is an absolutely insane buff. That's how Combusty works. No, this is basically Sky Splitter. Like, picture Sky Splitter. So, like, Sky Splitter works on every single auto attack. This now procs on your auto attacks. Oh, wait, okay, so, never mind, hold on. Sorry, I'm misunderstanding. Okay, so the cleave doesn't proc, but the 1.5% max health damage procs is how okay. They wrote this so fucking poorly. So you don't get the 30% cleave. I misread this, or I misunderstood the way that they wrote this. The way they wrote this is fucking terrible. The first person that you hit, like the initial person that you hit, takes 1.5% of your max HP as physical damage extra on top of the auto attack. Okay, that's much more reasonable. Still a big buff, though. That would have been 100% busted. I don't know why they write shit like this sometimes, because it's so fucking confusing. Not as big as buffs as I thought, but you are doing an extra 1.5% max HP damage, which is pretty insane. Especially on something like Chimera, where you're getting like 5-6k HP, you're doing an extra like 50, 60 damage per auto attack. That's still a pretty big buff, but like not as much as I thought it was. I thought it was just like you get the cleave on the person that you're hitting, and you're doing an extra 30% damage. That would be absolutely insane. Takes a good item, it makes it better. I mean, yeah, they're buffing it because it's not being built. It's just slow. Like, the item's good, it's just slow. But not as big of a buff as I thought it was, dude. Okay, thank God. Elkawa, thank you for the follow. Magnifying less HP, barely touched. On hit damage and prophecy lowered. The item sucks. I don't know why we're nerfing it. It's because Timmy's just refused to not build it. Power scaling on Cresselia nerfed. Nobody cares. Dog shit item. Actual bait item. I don't know why people build it. It sucks. Dawnstar, lower HP, more armor. More attack speed, and the attack speed duration lasts longer. Still a shit item. Nobody's going to build it. Dynamo buff. Why? This shit's an insane buff. Huge buff to Dynamo. Massive buff to Dynamo. You probably build this over Frosted Lord now as first item. 10% damage increase is crazy high for your teammates. Cost of the Galaxy Greaves increased. Magical armor increased. Sure. Nobody cares. Ella Frost, lower cost. That's pretty huge. Extra armor, lower HP. The slow is longer, and the slow does more damage. Pretty big buff to Elefrost. Probably going to be good. Struggles to feel as relevant as Fire Blossom. Yeah, it's almost like if Fire Blossom has a tier 2 spike that's really strong. Crazy concept. You're still not going to build this over Fire Blossom because Fire Blossom infinitely scales. And Elefrost, you proc on your abilities exclusively. This will never beat Fire Blossom. You have to remove Fire Blossom. Fire Blossom has to be non-buildable for this to be good. That's it. You will always go Fire Blossom over this item, almost always. I don't see why you would ever go this item over Fire Blossom. You will lose the trade to Fire Blossom every time. If somebody goes Fire Blossom and you go this item, as soon as you both finish your first items, you will lose. Fire Blossom getting less HP, more armor. Again, if I build Fire Blossom and you build Elefrost, I win the trade every time. That's it. What's up, Loxy? Meow. Stonewall, 80% health regen added. Doesn't really matter. Nobody cares. A bunch of bug fixes. Anything relevant in here? Nothing relevant. Okay. Also in this patch, basically when you open cores, after a set amount of cores, you will get opal guaranteed. So every 8 cores, you get 300 opal guaranteed, no matter what. That's basically it. You guaranteed get opals now, so you don't have to open chests to get them. They did remove platinum from chests, though, and then increase the percentages of like other stuff, so that you can no longer get platinum at all. Basically, they said people were getting too much platinum from cores. As a result, it was hurting their bottom line, so they decided to remove the premium currency from the cores altogether. So now you can no longer get premium currency from the cores. Silly change, in my opinion. Greedy change, in my opinion. L change, I think, on this one. This is anti-consumer and anti-player, especially since core is supposed to be something that you can get eventually. This is anti. It's just a bad. This is bad practice, in my opinion. They could say it's like hurting their sustainability or whatever. Maybe make more than one skin a patch. I don't know. Maybe make some shit people actually want to buy. Maybe don't put everything in the fucking chest. Like, I don't know. There's many different things. Again, if people are spending their time playing the game to then get cores to then do stuff, that's fine. I think what's really hurting your bottom line is the fact that you're giving away so many cores via like drops and shit like that. If that's really the problem, I think that's the bigger problem as opposed to just hurting everybody that wants to get platinum from cores. Very silly in my opinion. I think this is a stupid change. And then also legacy skin drops are reduced, so you have half the chance to get a legacy skin drop, or sorry, a legendary skin drop like the Undertow skins, for example. But you have a higher chance to get like tier 2 skins. I think this whole change is stupid. I think this is a greedy change personally. Silly change in my opinion. Remove quantum cores from iron cores. You could also just remove quantum cores from iron cores, but I kind of like the concept of getting like a higher tier chest from your chest. Maybe lower the percentage that it happens. Oh, they did. They also lowered the okay. Well, there you go. Yeah, I don't know. Know of any other game that gives premium currency away for free? Smite. Smite gives you fucking 50 premium currency literally just for logging in. You don't even have to do anything. You just log in. They give shit away all the time. Do you open them all and bankrupt them? If you were going to open your cores, I would open them before this patch drops so that you at least have a chance to get platinum, in my opinion. Also, a higher chance to get legendary skins. And a higher chance to get higher tier cores. Yeah, but who really plays Smite? More people that play Smite than this. What else gives currency? Literally any game that's on the Steam Marketplace, fucking PUBG, CS:GO, Dota, you get free shit. They give free shit all the time, and you could sell that shit for actual money, not in-game money. I don't know. Bad change. I think this is silly. I think this is anti-consumer. I think this is a bad change. But I appreciate everybody watching on YouTube. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them.